Now we can speak to Sreeram Chaulia, who's the Dean of Jindal School of International Affairs. He's in Sonipat in northern India. Thank you very much indeed. What's your understanding, first of all, of the exact location of these strikes and the damage or otherwise that was caused by them?
Martin, our information in India is that three terrorist training camps have been struck by the Indian Air Force. Muzaffarabad, Chakoti, and Balakot. Balakot is actually outside Kashmir region and is in Pakistan proper. So in terms of the depth to which the Indian Air Force went, it probably crossed more than 30 kilometers across the line of control. The reason they could evade detection was, one, because they had planned it in the dark of the night, and two, the Pakistani air defense systems are not that strong. They have something called SILAC system, and they failed to detect them. And they say that they scrambled their F-16 jets, but we had actually a full formation of 12 jets, and therefore they could not stop them. So our information is they stopped the targets, and they eliminated a number of leaders and infrastructure and flew back successfully without any damage.
There are clearly two narratives, aren't there, surrounding the entire incident, the Pakistani one and the Indian one. But tell me, how much pressure has Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, been under in order to respond to what happened in Indian-administered Kashmir, in which more than 40 security personnel were taken out by Jaish-e-Mohammed? How much pressure politically has he been under to strike back?
Well, Martin, I must say that, this is not only a retaliation or revenge for the Pulwama attack that happened 12 days ago. India believes that this was actually a preemptive one to prevent more attacks that were being planned by Maulana Masood Azhar, the terrorist mastermind who's being sheltered by the Pakistani military establishment and who's the head of this Jaish-e-Mohammed group, which is internationally banned.
That is the core, of course, of the Indian narrative, isn't it? But what I'm asking you specifically is how much pressure was Mr. Modi under in order to take some kind of action? He needed politically, didn't he, given that we're in the run-up to an election, he needed to be seen to act strongly against Pakistan.
Well, Martin, I would not link this to elections. This is an overwhelming consensus in India to respond. As far as Mr. Modi goes, he did surgical strikes by land in 2016 when he had no elections on the horizon. So I don't think it's fair to connect it to elections and to so-called, ultra-nationalism in India. This is the Pakistani narrative. They're trying to create a kind of a domestic, chaos situation in India where people are desperate for revenge. I think it's more like a long-term process of establishing military deterrence against a real threat that has caused lots of loss to Indian lives over decades. So I think we are looking at this as a series of actions that we'll take, military, diplomatic, as well as economic, to try and solve this national security problem that Pakistan has created by sponsoring proxies against us for a long time.
And Mr. Chaulia, how do you expect Pakistan to respond? Because similarly, the government and the military of Pakistan will have a certain amount of pressure upon them in order to show their population that they will not be have their territory violated as they would see it like this.
Well, for them, it is about saving face, because the Pakistani military wants to show to the civilian population there that they are the defenders against, Indian hegemony. That is the narrative they have built up to justify the military domination there. So they will want to be seen to be tough. But I must say that, we have S-200 Russian surface-to-air missile systems to guard against any aerial intervention by the Pakistanis. There are reports that we have shot down Pakistani drones lately. And more important, I think, conventionally, Pakistan is a much weaker country. The only equalizer they have is nuclear weapons. And I don't think they're going that far. They cannot afford to because of mutually assured destruction. So what I fear is that they will try to actually infiltrate or energize some of their terrorist sleeper cells within India and carry out some more, jihadist type of attacks, and then wash their hands of it and say, we have nothing to do with this, is an Indian internal problem. So I think that is the real menace as we look at the future, because they have quite a few assets waiting to still come across. So that's why I said that this job is unfinished. What Narendra Modi did today in the early hours was to show that we are slowly working towards a long-term deterrence, but we have to be wary of attacks like the Mumbai 2008 attacks, for
Sure,
example, which was
yes.
sponsored by Pakistan and killed a lot of our civilians in soft targets. So I think we have to protect our soft targets militarily and conventionally. I don't think they have the capacity to harm us. So they will be looking at these so-called non-state actors or proxies to
Right.
sow
Okay.
terror in India.
Sreeram Chaulia, I thank you very much indeed.